Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Fiio X Jade Audio JH3, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. You can obtain the JH3 from Fiio or Jade Audio for $60. Currently, at the time of this recording, there is a sale going on, and you can obtain them for $35 on Amazon. The JH3 comes in a very simple unboxing, nothing too special here, and you're going to get a few accessories, nothing too exciting. You're going to get some tips. You're going to get one set of foam tips, small, medium, large of red stem tips, and small, medium, and large of black stem tips. Now, the differences between the red stem and black stem is that the red stem is slightly larger bored and the red stem tips are balanced. The black ones are a little more bassy. The black ones, you'll get a little bit more V-shape, a little bit more bass presence, a little more treble presence, and the mids are slightly recessed. With the red ones, it's a little more balanced. You do get a little bit more cohesion throughout, and the treble isn't quite as elevated and the bass isn't quite as elevated. Other than that, pretty much the same sound signature. And then you're also going to get a cable that I absolutely not a huge fan of. It's a monocrystalline copper cable, has extremely very aggressive ear hooks and super twisty. Did not really care for that cable whatsoever. And you also get a Fiio hard case carrying case. And that's it for the accessories. Very, very simple device as far as unboxings. Specs of the JH3 has a 13.6 millimeter dynamic that covers the bass and the mids, and it has two custom balanced armatures that cover the treble. It is 28 ohms, 106 decibels of sensitivity, has a frequency response of 10 hertz to 40 kilohertz, and on the box, it's got a high-res sticker, so it's got to sound good. All right, the JH3s. I did replace the tips and the cable. Replaced the cable because the stock one super annoyed me, so I put on a drop 2-pin cable. I did find that the drop 2-pin did give slightly a better amount of clarity and a little bit better detail retrieval and resolution, but it was very subtle. And then I changed over to the Epro tip. I found that they were more comfortable, and also that they gave a little bit more of a balanced sound. With the stock tips, even with the balanced tips, I was getting a little bit of harshness and moments of sibilance and hotness in the treble that was just a little annoying to me. And so I put these tips on and it fixed that issue. Your experiences may be different, but all sound impressions going forward will be with the drop 2-pin cable and the Epro tips. All right, so the faceplates, they're unique. They've got this little like window shade type of look to them. Can be a little bit annoying to look at if you are sensitive to movements like that. Very universal fit, nothing special here. You got a flat shell with a decent angle and a little bit of a kind of medium length nozzle. Overall, I find that it's well built, looks cool, nothing special, fits in the ears, very comfortable. I can wear them for hours on end with no problems whatsoever, and they isolate outside noises decently. It's not anything special here. We're talking somewhere about 50-55% of outside noises blocked. It'll work okay for office work, walking around the park, that things. Louder type of settings, these will struggle to block out outside noises. I found that they're very, very easy to drive, no problems whatsoever on any source. My favorite source to use them with was the Periodic Audio Rhodium going out of my OnePlus 9 Pro. I found that that had the most pleasing and accurate sound that I could get out of the JH3s. Everything else sounded great off of DAPs. It sounded fine with the Sony WM1A, Sony A105, Heidi's AP80 Pro, and also the Fiio M11 Plus. Worked great with all of them. Works great off of desktops. Had no problems whatsoever. So you should not have an issue with powering the JH3s. I did find that they preferred and sounded better on a neutral natural source versus a warmer source. Warmer sources kind of bogged them down, and they seemed to be a little bit muddled and a little too warm and thick, and that it seemed like I was losing some of the details and resolution. How do they sound? The JH3s have a big bass presence. They have a lot of sub bass. You're going to get some grumble, you're going to get some rumble, you're going to get some to it. It does have some mid bass impact, and it does bleed slightly from the upper bass into the lower mids. But overall, it is a fairly decently well-controlled bass with good tonality and timbre, and an okay amount of detail retrieval and resolution. You're not winning any awards here with the JH3 being the best tonally accurate and most detailed and resolving bass. Mids are okay. They are not the focal point of the presentation. Even using a more balanced tip and with the cable, the mids still do take a slight recess to the mids, or excuse me, to the bass, but they still have enough presence and enough body and enough clarity to be presented and to be heard and to be pleasant. They have okay tonality and timbre. Detail retrieval and resolution is adequate. Again, the mids are nothing to really talk about here, but at the same time, they aren't anything that's going to be like, whoa, these things are terrible. So the mids are okay. The treble is nicely extended. It has a good amount of shimmer, glare, and just enough of energy and sparkle to it without being over the top. I found that with the stock tips and the stock cable, that the treble was a little bit uncontrolled and had moments of sibilance and in the upper mids and lower treble regions, and that there was hotness in the regular treble. But once I changed cables and tips, that kind of resolved itself, and I found that only on tracks that really presented that, or at higher listening volumes, that really came out. So overall, I find that the frequency response is okay. It's not anything spectacular here. It's a safe tuning that is pleasant and has enough fun character to keep the toes tapping, but not really anything here that is going to be a wow factor. Soundstage wise, they're okay. They are not very wide, but they're not narrow and claustrophobic either. They do okay when it comes to depicting what a size of a stage is, but it's not anything spectacular here. They are just okay in width. Depth and layering, they do struggle a little bit, especially on busier tracks. They will muddle up a little bit and lose some clarity. That is resolved with changing of the tips. Overall, I find that detail retrieval and resolution is all right. It's not anything that's going to win awards here or beat out some of the more favorites in the price point. Tone and timbre, same thing. It's okay, but it's not anything that's going to beat out some of the more favorites of price point. How do they compare to the Triple and Mele? The Mele has a more of a cleaner bass, more detailed, and just overall a more accurate bass with tone and timbre and details and resolution. And the mids have more presence. They are more forward. There is a little bit more body to the Mele, and also the treble is more elevated and has more energy and sparkle and is slightly brighter on the Mele. in the lower treble regions. Overall, I find that the soundstage is better defined on the Mele, and that it is more accurate and true in defining the stages with and also with depth and layering. The TINHIFI T2, on the other hand, in comparison to the JH3, has a more natural and accurate tone and timbre, also does better with detail retrieval and resolution, and is just an overall more pleasing and accurate reproduction throughout. Does not have the bass impact that the JH3 has, but has more clarity and details and resolution. Soundstage wise, the T2 is more accurate and true, does a better job with depth and layering and separation and isolation of instruments. So I find that the JH3 is a good IEM. I do enjoy it, especially after I changed the cable and the tips. And I find that the JH3 is a very fun, pleasing, and engaging sound. Has a little bit of warmth to it, and just overall it's just a fun sound. But it's not really something that is going to draw me away from my other favorites of the T2. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. And then don't forget to give a thumbs up to the video or a thumbs down to the video, and also check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel, all that kind of good stuff. And then there's all kinds of other information like music recommendations and gear recommendations and all kinds of other things. So don't forget to check out the links down below. And finally, don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.